Hi, welcome to my first installment of Holy Babble. Holy Babble is basically thoughts and ideas, ways of thinking about the Christian church and how we are taught different ideas that are supposed to be biblical, but might end up being more babble than Bible. Okay, and so one of the things that started as you get older, certain things that you went through when you were younger, or that you saw through the news and through church. Sometimes they play over and over again in your mind, and you start to see those issues in a different way as an older person than you did when you were younger. And I was thinking about the past election with Trump and Biden, actually Trump and Hillary, because that was previous election. I can't remember if it was 2020, but Corona, I can't keep up with the years now, but it was 2020, somewhere around there. And the older I got, I started to think about it. People have been making fun of Hillary for a long time. They made fun of her pantsuits, and I used to think, at the time I was younger, and I hate to say I was young and stupid, but I went along with it. Oh my gosh, she's wearing pantsuits, shame on her. Then I started to think as I got older, okay, should she have worn a dress and high heels? That have made him feel better? And I said, no, it shouldn't be about a woman's outfit, right? It's never about a man's. Oh my gosh, his trousers. Oh my gosh, he's wearing black shoes. Ooh, he can't be president. So I started to think about the sexism that was involved with Hillary Clinton. Whether you like Hillary or not, period, there's still sexism involved. There had been just no more different than Sarah Palin. There's sexism involved with that, okay? So it doesn't matter if you're left, right, independent. Sexism can still affect you. Racism can still affect you. Classism can still affect you no matter what side of the tracks you're on. And so I started thinking about that, and as I got older, I started thinking, could there be a conspiracy against women in general about getting into the White House? And this is coming from both sides again, in the middle of the track, left and right of the track. What would it mean for the Christian church if a woman got into the White House? No matter if she's Republican, Democrat, grassroots, whatever. What would it make the church look like? And I started to think about it because I said, I wondered how many Christian males voted for Trump, whether they agreed with his politic or not. How many of us went to churches where women were not allowed to speak in the church? You weren't allowed to serve communion. You weren't allowed to preach. You weren't allowed to come up on stage and lead a song, lead a prayer, say announcements, nothing. Because after all, the Bible says you're supposed to be silent in the church, right? Which is such a weird thing because women are such verbal people. We use more words than males do. We speak more. We have the gift of gab. Women give birth to the world, okay? Yes, thanks to the men, but we give birth to the world. We help raise the world. Women teach our children how to speak, how to read, how to walk, how to talk, how to live, keep you safe. And what a strange thing for the Bible to say women are still somehow kind of inferior to men, and we're supposed to be quiet, and only the men can lead the church. And then you have the Catholic conspiracy. Actually, it's not just Catholics. I don't want to discriminate against them. All churches have some kind of pedophilia going on, where somebody's sexually abusing the children or women, what have you. And you see, gosh, these guys are running the church. Yes, they're doing all this stuff. They're embezzling money. It's not all churches, but there's always somebody somewhere, no matter what church, embezzling funds from the church, molesting children, sleeping with women in the church, whatever, what have you. Nobody escapes any of that. Somebody's going to be going through it sometime or another. And so, but I started thinking about just the election, and I said, gosh, how many people who come from churches, not all people, there are some people who are even right-wing or left-wing, whatever, Baptist, plenty of Baptists, or I think it's Pentecostal, women are allowed to preach in the church. And so I started thinking, how many males, especially even Democratic males, who were either black males, or at least from my background, who voted for Trump, not because I necessarily loved him to death or agree with everything he said, but because he was a male. He was a male. And God forbid, they can't have Hillary or any woman be president. Because after all, a man is supposed to rule over other males and the world, period, right? Men are meant to lead, right? Women are meant to follow, right? And so I started to think about that. I said, wow, what hypocrisy. How can you tell your daughters, you can be anything you want to be. You can be president of a company. You can be president of a college, okay? You can be CEO. You can be a doctor. You can go to space. You can do all these fantastic things. But she says, Daddy, but I want to be a preacher like you. I want to be a preacher like Grandpa. I really love the Bible. I love learning about the Bible and preaching the Bible and spreading the word. So what would you say if you voted for Trump, and because you didn't believe a woman should be president, period. If it was a different woman other than Hillary, you would have voted for Trump, right? How do you tell your daughters, sorry, honey, God doesn't think you're allowed to spread his word. You can do it. You can preach. You can teach kindergarten, Bible class, but you can't get up on the pulpit and preach to us males, right? I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it, right? So God forbid, if a woman did make it into the White House, how would the church now look saying, gee, we still don't believe you can rule in the church over other males and women and children, but somehow there's a woman in the White House, right? How hypocritical would you look? I'm twisting my words, but you would look like a hypocrite. You would look like a hypocrite to say, wow, Daddy, so she can be president now, but I still can't preach in the church? How would that really change the church for the people who still have not caught up and say, you know what, maybe it's okay to let women preach in church, or sing a song, do this, and that. And so that's something that ran through my mind. I said, how can this male who brags about grabbing a woman by the crotch, right? And say that's what women really want. That's how you really treat a woman, right? Claim he's a Christian male, and he's still making it to the White House. But oh my gosh, Hillary and her pantsuits, deplorable. We can't have that. No, sir. No, sir. So Trump's way better than this Hillary over here, right? No matter what crap she was involved in. With white water, white rafting, whatever her little thing, I forgot what it was that her and her husband that got into a conspiracy. Honey, she ain't no different than the people on the right. Actually, both politicians are really no different from the left or right. They've all lied about something. They've all hid something. They've all done some shady stuff on either side. They tell us what we want to hear. They get in that White House, and once they get into it, aha, I'm here. I can change my mind. There's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, I lied. No, I'm not going to sign this bill. No, I'm not going to do this over here. I'm not. Or sometimes they try. Of course, we have to realize once the president gets in there, it's not just what he wants. He has to go through, executive, judicial, and executive, all those different, I guess the Senate mainly, who can say, oh, yeah, we'll let you do that, or no, we won't. So I just started to think about that. And I said, what would it make the church look like? So I said, I don't think they really want a woman to be in the White House. And I thought about Elizabeth Warren when she was running for presidency, how she must have, I remember watching an interview with her, and you could tell the wheels were turning in her head. She started to realize, maybe I was reading too much, but I really felt like when I listened to her talk, she was kind of saying she got it. All this time, she thought it was about people really just not liking Hillary and her past, or not liking her husband. And we don't want another Clinton in the White House, even though we've had multiple Bushes, right? And different people have been in there with multiple terms, but not Obama. And I think she started to realize, gosh, we had all these women who run for presidency, overly qualified, and none of them made it. None of them made it. We chose the older man who was 74 years old, 72, to go up in there, because maybe people were familiar with his face and his name, whatnot. We trust him, I guess. But I just thought it was very interesting that, all these women qualified. She started to realize it wasn't about Hillary at all. It was about that she was a woman. It wouldn't have mattered if she wore a dress, skirt, pantsuits, shorts. Wouldn't have mattered. Overall, she would not have made it, no matter how qualified she was. We'll put Trump in there no matter what. And only once some people realize, people have to remember, a lot of Democrats jumped over to Trump too. Now, he could have rigged the race. That's very possible also. But you also have some Christians who don't believe a woman's supposed to be over a man, who jumped the fence and went Republican, just like some Republicans might have jumped back across that fence when they realized Trump was a hot mess. They said, hold up. Yes, I'm a red-blooded, Republican, but hell no. All these people dying, he's still lying to us? Enough. I'm jumping across the Democrat, right, until we get a better Republican candidate, then I'll jump back to Republican, right? And so, but anyway, there's a lot of hypocrisy with a Christian church who still believe women shouldn't do this, and that, right? And so that's just some things I want to bring up to y'all to think. Just something for y'all to think about, right? Think about. But I think men aren't willing to give up control of the church just yet. That's the last straw. We don't want to give up that now we got to share the pulpit with women. That's the last straw. They don't want you to draw. Keep that straw in that dadgum cup. Okay? They're not willing to give up the patriarchy. And a lot of women support patriarchy too. Okay? There's a lot of women who believe, yes, women should be quiet and whatever and do this and let the man rule and whatever. And if he does something, if he molests this person or steals your money or embezzles, oh, well, that's, just, but if a woman does, oh my gosh, you're a mother, shame on you. So there's we still have a lot of change that needs to take place. We still need to grow as human beings, as Americans, as women, as men, left, right, in the middle, whatnot. But those are just some things for you to think about the sexism that still is in the church and into politics. And I think you might have some people out there really putting a lot of money behind this to make sure a woman doesn't get into this, to stay out of the White House and start changing the rules for, women, because after all, women supposedly still don't make as much as men do, right? And they say, oh, we're working harder. Well, okay, but a woman who's in the office using her brain more, why is it you put a hammer and a nail over here, you get paid more than somebody who's teaching your children how to read and write, or a secretary who's putting the curriculum together? Somebody who does a lot of brain work maybe doesn't get as paid as much as somebody who, this is lower level jobs, of course, but no, you just can't keep doing that. You just can't keep doing that, at least not being unfair about it. If somebody's been there longer, has more experience, yes, you pay them more, okay? But if somebody's in the same position, same experience, you can't say I'm going to give him more than you. That needs to be a law to stop that. So anyway, that's just something to think about. I'm sure I probably lost some points, forgot some things in here somewhere along the way. I'm going to look at here real. Another thing real quick. A lot of times I've heard with Trump and Obama, or Trump and Biden, males will say, I respect the position of the presidency, but I don't respect the guy in it, which absolutely doesn't make sense. It's like if your child came to you and says, I respect my mom and dad, but I don't respect the people in those positions. I respect my parents, but I don't respect the people in those positions. That's bull crap. Then you don't respect, Then you don't respect the position. Because no matter who's in the position, whether you like your mom and dad, you're supposed to respect them, right? If you don't like this, get out of my house. You go try paying all the bills yourself, see how it is. Same thing with the president. Respect it. Then no, whoever's in that office, you're supposed to still respect it. Gosh, he's in there. It is what it is. You don't have to like it, right? So I started to think about how many guys feel that way about their mothers and women in general. I respect the position of motherhood, but you don't really respect your mother as a woman with a brain and a mind with thoughts and ideas. Which is why you have these guys who will tell a woman they're dating, I love my mother, I respect her, I'd do anything for her. But then you get with the guy and you find that he's abusive, whether it's verbally or physically. And you're like, gee, this guy told me he loves his mother to death, and he's just, oh, my mother, because that's what women want to hear, right? Who doesn't want a guy who loves his mother, who respects his mother, right? You're thinking he's going to respect me as a woman, too, because he respects his mother as a woman. Not quite. First of all, everybody's supposed to say you love your mother and your dad, right? Even if you have terrible parents, you're never supposed to say, oh, I can't stand my mom. She's a horrible mom. I wish she died, whatever. You're never supposed to say that. You always say, oh, I love my mom, of course. Then your mom, the woman say, oh, I want to marry this guy. He sounds great, right? But a lot of guys do not see their mother as a woman, individual. She's your mother. She helped raise you. Of course, you love that and respect that. But then you get married, and sometimes you don't show that same respect for your wife, right? As you claim you love your mother. You don't see your mother through your wife. That she deserves the same respect. She has thoughts and ideas. A woman shouldn't be in that position where, God, if I have a thought, you're allowed to slap me like an oldie. Oh, I'm allowed to slap you. You don't talk back to me. You don't question me. You don't do anything, without my consent. No, she should be allowed to have thoughts and ideas. A guy shouldn't get mad if a woman speaks her brain, where he ain't quick to beat up a man if he says something, if another male says something that another male doesn't like. But if a woman, oh my gosh, how dare you say that, she needs to be slapped, she needs to be put in her place. No, she has the right to speak like other males do. Okay? If you have respect for your sister, your mother, your auntie, your nieces, show respect for other women if you really respect and love women. I'm not saying women are all great. There's some butthole women. There's some biatches out there. Absolutely. There's butthole males, right? But still, you don't have to like them to show them respect. You can show somebody respect by just leaving them alone. Respecting their thoughts and ideas, leave them alone. So I don't agree with that. But, lights out. That means that's my timer saying it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for being with me in my first installment of Holy Babble. See you next time. Amen and bye-bye.